Hello everyone, and welcome back to this tutorial video, and this one's going to be on assignment number 2. Um, it won't be that long. I'm going to try to keep them all within about a 5-minute range or so. But in any case, this assignment, you're asked to explore the file menu a bit and the first few tools. So if I go to Blackboard and I look at the course content folder, look inside of it, and I see the assignment 2 requirements, it says the first open the assignment 1 image, the A1 image. So what I'm going to do is I've got Photoshop opened, and remember that across the top are these things called menus. And if we want to open up an existing image, we just go into the File menu, go down to Open, or we talked about these quick keys, these shortcuts. Command O is open, and I hit open, and it asks me where is the first image or file that I want to open, and there it is in the assignment 1 folder that I created. So one of your assignments was to create a folder structure on your hard drive, just so you can easily organize the files that we create, because we'll be creating a whole bunch over the course of the semester. So I select that one, and I can hit the return key to it does the same thing as hitting the open button. So if I just don't want to mouse over to the button that says open, I can just hit the return key. And so here it is. It's now opened. I'm going to expand it just so it fits the cropping of the video. And it says the first thing you do is you save it as itself and call it version or assignment 2. Okay, so under the various menus, under the first menu, under the file menu, this is where we would go to, like I said, to create a new or open. But it's also a place where we would go to save any changes we made to a Photoshop document, or we could save the document as itself. And so just so we have the experience with saving as, I'm going to go under the Save As button. And when you click the Save As button, you get a little dialog box that asks you if you want to save to the cloud or you want to save to your hard drive. And I'm going to say, yes, I want to save it to my computer. And if we look closely at this, we can see that we can edit the name. I'm going to call it actually assignment 2. Okay. We can also see that we can determine where it's going to be located. And so make sure we change it to the name to assignment 2 and that we save it into the assignment 2 folder. Okay, so name and location. And the other thing you can change when you do the save as command is that you can change the format. Okay, and we'll talk more about formats in the future. But if you click on the little format button there, you see you have a whole range. And the Photoshop format tends to be the work in progress document. It usually would have several layers. We'll talk about what layers are. Okay, it tends to be a fairly large file. It's the original file that you work in. Okay, but the GIF and the JPEG tend to be more for the web. Files that are going to be destined for a website, whereas say TIFF is typically a format that would be used for, it's a little higher quality format, and it's used for printing purposes. But we'll talk more about formats at a future date, but let's just keep it now at JPEG. Okay, and I'm going to hit save. Okay, and then I get another little dialog box, and it asks for what quality do you want to save it as, and I'll just keep it at the default 12 maximum quality. Hit OK. Okay, so now that I've saved it as, and there's the title of the file that we're looking at is right up here on the top. It's called the title bar. We also see that the title of the tab is the same title, so we just to know that we're in the right place. So assignment 2, and then the first thing it asks us to do after we've saved it as itself is that we are asked to consider a sentence that's appealing to you. Okay, and just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to start with the first sentence, and I'm going to crop out the rest of the document. Okay, and there's a lot of great you have to really read this through, and it's a very poignant and beautiful um, um, statement, especially appropriate for our time right now. But anyway, so read it through, pick a sentence that you like. I'm going to choose the first one, and we'll go to the fifth tool down. It's called the cropping tool. Now, the nice thing about Photoshop is that whenever you mouse over a given tool, Photoshop tells you, if you hover over that tool, it'll give you like a little instructional video about what the tool's named and what it does. Okay, and that can be very helpful. I mean, initially, I mean, once you get kind of more expert and more familiar with Photoshop, it's not all that helpful, but initially it is. Okay, so I choose this cropping tool, and I have a whole bunch of handles on every corner and on the sides, and I'm able to click over those. Notice how the cursor changes. I position the cursor over a handle, and I can change the what's called the cropping field. Okay, and then once I get something I kind of like, I can either hit the return key, which kind of sets the cropping, or you switch into another tool. So I'm going to just hit the return key. Okay, and I need to crop it out a little more. So let me go to the cropping tool, and whoop, let me undo that. Go back to the cropping tool, then hit the return key, and there, that's cropped out. So now that I have it cropped, I want to save the changes. So now this is where save comes in. So I've made some changes to an existing document. Okay, I'm going to hit save. That's going to save it, and it's going to save it in with the same name in the same location. It just saves the document. The next tool we're going to explore a little bit is the magic wand tool. Okay, so I'm going to click on that tool to select it, and I position the cursor over the image. And what the magic wand tool does is that it selects. It's a selection tool. Now let me zoom in a little bit. Okay, and remember these things are all called pixels, and every little square we see are pixels, and the pixel stands for picture elements. Okay, and let me zoom out now. Okay, and so what the magic wand tool does is it selects. You can't, of course, we can't see the pixel that it's actually selecting, but it's a white field, so we're assuming that we're going to be selecting white. So it'll select the white pixel, but then all the pixels that are very similar to it around it. Okay, so if I click on this white background, it's going to select the entire background because it's all joined, and they all have the same white qualities of those pixels. Okay, well, once we select the background, okay, I'm going to ask that we fill it with another color. Okay, a particular color. So we go under the edit menu and go down to fill. Okay, and all right, so I go down to fill, and it asks me, do I want to fill it with the foreground color, which is here, or the background color, which is here, or I choose a custom color, and I'm going to choose a custom color. I'll make it a blue, or I can change the color to a dark purple color, and I hit OK, and I'm going to hit OK. Also, there's a opacity percentage down here. You could keep it 100% opaque, or 50% opaque, or 10% opaque, or 25. You name it. So as opacity goes down, transparency goes up. Okay, we'll talk more about that. So I hit OK, and that color fill gets applied. Okay, I zoom in. Let me zoom in, and we see that the color fill of that purple, that actually it's 25% purple, gets filled into that selected area. Okay, so all right, and so once we've done that, we go back under the file menu to save, and save your changes, and then you want to deselect if you want. You can deselect the selection. Okay, and that's as easy as going Command D or deselect. Okay, and so that pretty much wraps up the assignment 2. So what I'm going to ask you guys to do, just similar to the first assignment, is explore how the different tools work. By selecting the tool, you'll notice there's a little triangle next to it. Then you can, if you click on it, click and hold the tool, it shows you the options, okay? And then the best way to learn is to just to freely explore, and then when you do come back to them, or it might bring up questions that you can ask when we meet again, um, and and then also begin to get comfortable through your your regular use of the various menus, okay, and spend a little time with the first three menus and the first, I'd say the first few tools, okay? Then in future classes and future assignments, we'll get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I know that by the fourth assignment, you're going to look back on these first two and you'll be like, oh my gosh, they were so easy. Well, it's true, but we got to start somewhere. So anyway, if you do have any questions, let me know, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.